First, starting with Casino for the NFL, your number 10 team going into this week is the Washington Commanders. Now, they
Yeah.
fell pretty far from last week, Casino. Was that loss on Thursday so detrimental?
Um, Obviously not to boot them out, but I just feel like there's other teams that I like their fight better right now, and I like how they're playing right now. Not saying that Jaden Daniels is playing bad. He's playing really good. He's still currently my front runner for rookie of the year, but there's somebody going to catch him, I think, and we'll talk about that. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, well, we'll get into that. But I do think last uh the Eagles lost, even though I have the Eagles flying high right now. Um, you don't want to lose that game because that's an elite team. You want to continue to play better against elite teams. But for so far, what we've seen against the more tough components, tough competitors,
Competitors?
yes,
Yeah.
um, they're not. They're losing those games. So you are a good team, but you've lost to the Steelers, you've lost to the Eagles, you've lost to the Ravens. All these teams that we are looking at as playoff teams. So, and then the Bucks would have been a playoff team, in my opinion, if they still had all their weapons. So,
Well,
they
now
just got
with
to
the
they got to
Falcons
get
imploding, they still might be.
right. So you still have to get over that hump, right? So three of four are playoff teams right now, and could have been four, and maybe four if the Bucks go on a streak. So they did drop in my power rankings because they need to do it against the elite teams. They
Yeah.
need to do it. They can show me it one more time. Yes, they play the Falcons, but I'm not saying the Falcons are elite right now. They can show me one more time when they play the Eagles at home. When they on December 22nd, when they play the Eagles, that's going to show me if you make the playoffs, you are ready to go against a good team.
But
Against a
but
playoff team.
but also Eagles this year 5-1 on the road.
Yeah.
So they're a pretty damn good
Well,
road
I know,
team
that's
as
what I'm saying.
well.
I need to see the Commanders, even if they win out. They say they beat the Cowboys, they beat the Titans, Saints, Falcons, and Cowboys again. Easy schedule. That's a 5 wins that I could see them easily winning. You know,
Yeah.
that does not matter to me. You need to beat the Eagles in Washington. You have to beat the Eagles on the 22nd to prove to me that you can go against the teams that you've lost to so far, the Steelers, the Eagles, the Ravens. You have to beat those teams if you want,
Yeah.
if you want to be considered an elite team right now. So yeah,
Well,
so they
especially
dropped down to 10 for me.
yeah, when you look at them, we've talked about having questions about their defense after that game on Thursday night. Their defense fell back to 23rd in the league in total defense. So right now their defense is a little bit worse, at least on paper stat wise, a little bit worse than the Cowboys defense right now. And the Cowboys defense is obviously abysmal. So yeah, again, question marks on their defense, question marks now with Jaden Daniels, which is he's played his worst games against the best team. So is he just, speaking of the Cowboys, is he a Dak Prescott-esque quarterback where he plays his best games against the weakest competition and then kind of folds against higher definition or higher team wins? But again, we don't know. We don't know. Next up, Casino, your number 9 team, the Arizona Cardinals. So the Cardinals, again, leading the NFC West division right now. Why do you like the Cardinals right now? Not.
Again, I like this team. I brought it up last week as well. I like how or last episode, their fight is just really good. I think Kyler Murray he doesn't have the noise around him this year. They've been in almost all their games. They're scrappy. I like seeing scrappy teams. And they're making people talk about them. Nobody was talking about them, and then everybody's now like, oh, the Cardinals, the Cardinals, the Cardinals. Can they be this? Can they do that? you know, Whether they do it or not, people are talking about them and they are turning heads.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Especially when you look at, again, the season Kyler's having 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, but more importantly, the season that James Conner is having. I mean, he is almost at 3 yards away from being at 700 with 5 touchdowns. So him and Kyler Murray as like this 1-2 punch in terms of running the ball. They are 6th in the league in total rushing right now, 15th in the league in total offense, and then 18th in the league in total defense. So one win separates the Seahawks, and stat wise, they're basically the same team except you flip passing and rushing. So that'll be a good game to see. You know, if Cardinals keep on winning and 49ers keep losing every other game, I mean, this looks like, you know, it's going to be Cardinals in the playoffs. And that's a team that in the playoffs, I feel like could upset some people because, again, you can't really plan for Kyler Murray and all that he can do. But number 8 casino on your list is shockingly the Baltimore Ravens have fallen to number 8.
That defense, man, that just worries me so much. I mean, I don't care what you do on the run defense. You know, if you are just Swiss cheese in the backfield and you could just let people, or in the secondary, and you could just let people toss on you all day. I don't care how good. I know, honey, I'm trying to get it on for you. I don't care how good of an offense you have. You're just not gonna win.
Yeah. Again, the note we always make with the Baltimore Ravens is they're number 1 in total offense by a good margin. Number 2 in the league in passing, number 1 in the league in rushing. So have the most rush yards, second most pass yards in the league. Lamar Jackson, 67% completion percentage, about 25 yards away from being at 2,900 yards on the season, 25 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But again, the games he struggles in, well, at least to win, the games he struggles in are Steelers and Chiefs. At least in the Chiefs games, he puts up good numbers. The Steelers just have this blueprint of how to stop him. So if he plays any team in the playoffs besides the Chiefs or the Steelers, then who knows what. I mean, Baltimore's probably going to the Super Bowl. The issue is he'll most likely have to play either one or both of those teams in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl. And he's only beaten the Chiefs once in 6 attempts. I think, has never beaten the Steelers, or if he has, it's been in one of the rare good games he's had against them. So, yeah, again, the Lamar Jackson questions are valid, but they get a lot louder in the playoffs. Right now, the regular season issue is they're 29th in the league in total defense. And when you watch that team play defense, it's like you never think they can get a stop. And as an Eagles fan, that feeling of just the bend don't break, but then they eventually break you has been a thorn in my side for, I mean, the past 5 years. So that's your number 8th team, Casino. Your number 7th team is, and I'm pulling it up right here. Up, I lost the thread. Is the team they play this week, and that is the Los Angeles Chargers.
I like Justin Herbert, man. I think Justin Herbert's a special talent. I really do it.
Take.
One sec, hold on. BJ, pause that at 29.
Your number 7 team, Casino, is the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yes. Ooh, ouch, that hurt. Yeah, that Frito pie is coming back up to haunt me here. No, I think Justin Herbert's a special talent, man. I know you haven't really cared for him. I mean, I think he's been outstanding for most of his career, and so I'm looking back at it right now. We've been giving him like meh, right, over the past couple of years, just because the Chargers organization has been crap. But in 2020, he had 2020 all the way to 24, this is actually his worst completion rating since he's gotten into the league. It was started off at 66 and 66 and a half, 66, 68, and then 65%. And then this year right now is 63.5% completion rating. All of his yards, like he's less now. Yeah, dude, he's over his career right now. He's 127 touchdowns, 43 interceptions over the 5 years that he's been playing, with a overall rating of quarterback rating of a 96.3. Like that's really good. That's really good, and I think it gets overlooked because the Chargers don't do well. is because that organization just just imploded with the horrible coaching, the horrible GMing, owner, the whole way up.
Yeah.
Um, so the fact that he was doing that and people were still giving him crap about it, I'm really happy that he's coming into his own of, hey, I'm not the problem. I've never been the problem. I like what Justin Herbert's been doing. I think with this coach and this new setup in San Diego, or the Los Angeles Chargers, they're
Which
San Diego,
I do hate saying that. Yeah.
dude, it's the worst. But the Chargers, nonetheless, they're special. They're special, and I think they're going to really start hitting the ground in the next few years. They're going to be good. They're going to be good. What we've expected them to be over the last 4 or 5 years, they're finally going to really get going.
Yeah, it is weird how the Chargers are the perfect example of why coaching matters because
Coaching, GMing, ownership, like it all
yeah,
matters. Like, I mean, look at it in Washington. Look at it
yeah,
in Washington, man.
no, that's
It
true.
it's a it all matters. It all
Well,
matters.
well, look at what the Jets keep doing, where they just keep bringing in the most random people you've ever heard of,
It's
and then they
horrible.
fall apart.
And then the
Yeah.
Chicago Bears, the same
Yep.
kind of way. Like it does it. And then we talk about Mike Tomlin. You know, he's never had a losing season. It really matters about coaching. It really matters about the front office. So you can have the talent, like Joe Burrow, for instance. He's an outstanding talent. I also think he's easily, by the end of his career, like, just with what he can do on the field, I think he would be in the top 20 best quarterbacks to ever play. And I know that's saying something, but he's just on a bad team. Like, they don't spend money. They don't spend money. They don't do this or that. There's talks about T. Higgins walking right now.
Yeah.
So
That O line gets worse every year he's
that
there.
O line gets worse every year.
Yeah.
Did you see his latest interview? By the way, I know I'm going off a little tangent here, but did you see Joe Burrow's latest interview? And they're like, or basically like, what's going on? And he's like, I think it's self-explanatory. And
Yeah.
like, he's just done. He's done getting his ass handed to him when he's being an MVP. You put him in front of um, the Lions O line. Oh dear
Oh, yeah.
God.
Dude,
Oh God.
you put him on the how he's playing right now. You put him on the Eagles, you put him on the Lions, you put him on these other teams that like are known for having O-lines,
Yeah.
and those teams are undefeated right now. There's no
Yeah.
question.
No question.
No question.
No question. So again, I like Justin Herbert. I love where this team's at. I know these power rankings are going long. I'm sorry. Continue.
Your next pick, Casino, is the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, they're good. Sam Darnold, it's kind of worrying some a little bit now. I think is he turning back into a pumpkin? I don't know. But overall, this team still has so many weapons that I think this is a good place for them. I think sitting here at 6 is a good spot. Let's just leave them there. That's all I got about them.
Yeah, they're middle of the road, but they're still again maybe the sneakiest 8-2 team we've seen in a long time. 8-2. This team's literally lost 2 games, and we talk and treat them like they're bottom feeders or whatever.
Yeah, that they're shit in the bed sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. But Darnold, 68% completion percentage, 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
Boo,
Not
boo,
bad.
68, boo.
Not one more, one more. But yeah, I mean, we've said enough about the Vikings. I don't know what else there is to say. Again, do they have any games on their upcoming schedule that are like prove it games? Because I know they play the Bears
I'll
this
pull them
week,
up here real quick.
but that's more a Bears last hope game.
No,
The
I think the
Vikings,
Bears. I think that game against the Packers was their last hope. I think they are done.
oh, next week they play the Cardinals. So
Okay.
that's a good if they can contain them. And then week 18, but see, they play the Lions in week 18, but the Lions at that point might have already locked up a bye and just been like, we're resting people. There's no
Yeah,
reason to risk it.
it's
So
resting people, man. That always bothers me.
I know. Well, especially if you have a bye. So that way you're going to be resting people for almost 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, the Viking
Like,
schedule is going to be tough, dude. They got the Cardinals, they got the Falcons, Bears, but they got Seahawks, Packers, Lions. They got a tough schedule.
yeah,
They've got
they're
a they've got a
playing.
They're playing
All
teams that are
teams with
fighting.
winning records.
All
Yeah.
teams with winning records, teams that are fighting. A couple teams, except for the Bears, they're playing teams that are fighting for a playoff spot with the Cardinals and Falcons and Seahawks. I know they're pretty much out of it. They would have to have a lot go their way. But then with the Packers, and because the Lions are definitely going to win that division, so yeah, man, they're playing for teams that are trying to get into the playoffs, and that's they're gonna come after them too. This
Yeah.
none of this is gonna be easy for the rest of the rest of the way for the Cardinals or for the Vikings.
Well, yeah, we're heading into week 12. So basically, from week 13 on, they basically play playoff games the entire time. So, and not for them, for the other teams. So that'll be a nice test to see how legit this 8-2 Vikings team really is. Because
Yeah.
again, we both keep putting them in our power rankings. They're in mine. So we think they're pretty legit, but are they too legit to quit? We don't know, Casino. Next up,
Which would make
your
them unlegit.
next up, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I do.
Uh, finally, it's been a month where we've just given up to that the Steelers are good. They beat the Ravens.
Well,
Now
that's
they're
what.
going up against a 2-8 Browns team that they're gonna annihilate.
Oh yeah, they're gonna absolutely annihilate them. But we talked about it going into this last weekend that this was whoever wins that Ravens Steelers game obviously was going to be the division leader for that division. But also this is going to prove to me if the Ravens were too messed up on defense and if the Steelers were legit. And the Steelers are legit. That defense is just outstanding. TJ Watt looks phenomenal over there. And yeah, it looks absolutely great. And then Russ is playing his best football since they won the Super Bowl. So he's absolutely crushing it.
Yeah. And he what is it? And again, we just talked about the Vikings. For the question marks for the Steelers,
And
I
then he
think
beat
that
he
is.
and again he just beat Baltimore without the offense scoring a touchdown. Like
Yeah. Well,
this
their
this team's
defense
this team is good, man. This team is good.
right now, their defense in total defense, they're 8th in the league. But when you look at their numbers, you can pass against them. You cannot run against them. So they're the 4th ranked running defense in the league. And we saw that nothing is more evident than that last week, where TJ Watt just buried Derrick Henry like 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. One person tackling Derrick Henry, where Derrick Henry didn't even have a chance. Like, that tells you how stout their run defense is. Now,
Yeah.
passing defense, again, when we look at who they're going to play,
65 yards for Henry. Oof.
yeah. And especially how many attempts did they give him? They gave
I
him
don't
a
know.
pretty good chunk.
But
But
yeah, so TJ Watt that game, he had one sack and 3 solo tackles, and those were all against Henry, man.
yeah. So and also, that game's tonight, Steelers Browns, a game
Mhm.
I will not be watching
I
because
will be. It'll be at work, so I'll have it on.
we don't have TVs at my work because my bar's being remodeled. So it's been brutal. It's been brutal. But now, Casino, we move on to your number 5 pick. It always messes me up because I saved the last 2.
6,
So there's
5.
only 8 on this.
No, this is 4.
So,
This is 4th. My
your
4.
4th one coming up. Your number 4th on the list. This is gonna raise some eyebrows, Casino, because your number 4th pick as the 4th
I've been
best team in
waiting
the
for it.
NFL.
Been waiting for it.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
They've been squeaking by all season, barely winning out games, and I just can't justify him putting them in front of the next 3 teams who have been blowing out teams. They've had their blowout games. I have not seen the Chiefs dominate a game yet. They are squeaking by. I mean, hell, they only beat the Raiders by a touchdown. And then, I mean, Denver's doing really good. And I can't justify putting the Chiefs any higher. I just can't.
No, especially with the teams obviously above them.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've been waiting for that loss because I've been saying it, you can't really throw an undefeated team low in the rankings, but they've lost. They finally lost.
And you think they're going to lose 2 or 3 more?
I think they're going to lose 2 more. And I think the Bills will lose 1 more, and that would put the Bills at the number 1 seed because they have the tie break. That's how I see it.
I mean, yeah, I could see that,
Well, I
especially
mean,
when
I broke it down last week, and I mean, I'll just quickly reiterate it again. The Chiefs, they play. I'm pulling it up. Shit, I didn't.
yeah, I should have had it up, but
Damn it.
I had faith in you,
Um,
and now
yeah,
my
no, I
faith
d
is lost.
why'd you have faith in me? No, but I mean, they have again, they have the Chargers, the Texans, the Steelers, and the Broncos. I can see them losing 2 of those games.
Yeah, I think they beat the Texans. I think, but again,
I think they'll
we
lose to the Steelers on the road, and
yes.
I really do. And then I honestly think that the Broncos are playing phenomenal. I mean, their last 2 losses might come down to the last 2 games.
Well, also the Chiefs always lose a weird one. What are the odds that in the next 2 weeks they
I
lose
can
one
see
of the
them. I
games?
can see them lose. I honestly can see them losing to the Raiders. The Raiders almost beat them, and I mean, would this is this most likely going to be like a huge line going towards the Raid or to the Chiefs? Absolutely. But could I see a weird upset with the Raiders beating the Chiefs? Yeah, we've already seen it. Nobody expected the Chiefs or the Raiders to be even close to the Chiefs the last game, and they were within a touchdown. They played them
That's
tough.
true. Well,
They
then
played them tough.
remember, I think it was either last season or the season before that, they lost that weird game to like the really bad Colts. Remember, they
Mhm.
couldn't even score. I think they scored one touchdown and
And
lost like 15-10 or
I
something.
I I think losing to the Bills and now that showing that they're vulnerable, I think that's gonna rattle them a little bit, and I can honestly see them, and I do have them losing 2 games. It most likely will be against the Chiefs or against the Steelers and Broncos at the end of the season,
Yeah.
but, you know,
But
we'll
I'm
see.
telling you what, we're gonna have a field day on this podcast if the 2 games they lose are the next 2 at Carolina and Las Vegas Raiders. I don't think either are likely, but if they lose to the Panthers, we're I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna have to do something big
I'm gonna
because
have to
that's
change my
gonna be
pants.
that's gonna be crazy.
Anyway,
Uh,
alright, moving on.
but
This my power rankings are taking way too long, I'm sorry.
your number 3 team, Casino, my boys, the Philadelphia Eagles.
I mean, you said it, we've said it plenty in the past few weeks that Saquon Barkley is an MVP candidate, 100% an MVP candidate. I currently have him at 3. You have him as 2 or 1. I don't think you could justify him 1 because I think with what Josh Allen's been doing is just incredible. Um, but nonetheless, the Eagles are playing really good, and as long as Jalen Hurts does not turn over the football, this team can win the Super Bowl. This team can win the Super Bowl with that defense, with the offense that they have. You got the dual threat quarterback, you got a great running back. It's everything that the Ravens should be, but the Eagles got the better defense.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that defense, Casino, they have something no other team does, which is they have oops.
Horrible fans. Oh wait,
Oh no, every team has that. They have
that's just a shot at you.
the Exciting Whites, which is the name of Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship. They are that is I'm not making that up. That is what they are calling themselves. Somebody sent this, and then Cooper DeJean, I believe, walked into last week's game wearing an Exciting White shirt, and it had him and Reed Blankenship on it. So right now, also they have Guantanamo Bay with Quentin Mitchell, the rookie, who is maybe having the best rookie
Yeah.
season of a cornerback since, I mean,
I mean,
definitely
thank you for
since
doing my
Sauce
power
Gardner.
rankings for me.
Yeah, it is number 3 with a bullet. But now, Casino, before we move to your 1 and 2, we move over to my power rankings because our 1 and 2, this may shock you, are the same. So mine, however, our numbers are different for number
Well, I
10.
figured I know you have a team in there. You have, let me guess, is it the Broncos?
So my number 10, Casino, is the Denver
There it is.
Broncos.
Hey, great. And so I mean, before you get on to this, I want to say that I alluded to that Jaden Daniels is still my front runner for rookie, but man, is Bo Nix right on his tail.
Speaking of Exciting Whites,
Right on his
Bo
tail.
Nix. Bo Nix.
He looks good, dude.
No, he really does. He looks good last week coming off his best game of the season as well. It seems like, again, with Jaden Daniels, maybe we've already seen his peak where everybody's been amazed by the stuff he's been doing, and then he's just been gradually doing a little less each game. Bo Nix is the opposite. Every week he gets more and more impressive. The more film they have on him, the better he plays. And last week, 4 touchdowns, and then this game he's going to the Raiders. The Raiders are the perfect team to put up 7 touchdowns against, right? Nick Foles did it. So Bo Nix on the season right now. Again, the impressive thing to me is his touchdown interception ratio is 14 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, but he's completing almost 66% of his passes.
Yeah.
And again, with guys on offense where it's like, I don't know who his wide receivers are. He has Sutton as his number 1 wide receiver in terms of yards. And then the next guy is Veal, Vele. So I don't know who their offensive weapons are, and he's still putting up these kind of numbers. Again, on a team that is 10th or has a top 10 defense, and yet running the ball and passing, they're also 19th and 14th in the league. So I'm really impressed by Bo Nix. I hate Sean Payton, but a hater has to give his respect to Cino. I hate Sean Payton. He's done a damn good job with this Broncos team.
Oh, he's done really
good job.
And that's why
Nix.
it's surprising for what Russ has been doing, is because I thought Russ was cooked. It's just they didn't agree. They didn't agree. But, I guess Mike Tomlin knew how to reel him in a little bit.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, you look at the stats Russell Wilson did last year. It's not like Russell Wilson was bad. He just wasn't doing what Sean Payton wanted him to do. Bo Nix is doing that, and he's playing better than, Wilson, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, played in this same offense. So,
out of the 4 quarterbacks that, like, I've told you, I like Drake May. You like Drake May. I don't think Caleb is a horrible quarterback. I think he's just on a bad team. Ran team
with bad circumstances.
Yeah, with bad circumstances. I think all 4 of these rookie quarterbacks are. I mean, and I will say Caleb is, again, circumstantially playing the best he can play right now with where he's at. This was a great quarterback class, man. Great quarterback class, because 2 of them are turning teams that two of them are turning teams into playoff teams that have no reason being playoff teams this year, with the Broncos and then Washington. And then you're getting a lot of fight from Drake May. I wonder what Drake May, what this Patriots team would be like if Drake May started.
That's true. From day one.
They could probably have 2 more wins on their docket,
Yeah. Well, also,
and then Caleb Williams is on a bad team, but he's still relevant. That Chicago team is still okay.
Well, and he's also coming off his best game of the season last week. And
it's like, I really like all 4 of these young quarterbacks that came out of the draft this year. They're doing really good things. But Bo Nix, you might take over my sweet Ryan of a pick, Jaden Daniels. And you know what? Not mad at it. Good job for you, Bo.
Speaking of Jaden Daniels, my number 9 team, Casino, great Segu, is the Washington Commanders, basically for all the things we said. I said on last week's podcast, I think if this is a 10-point game, a swing either way of 10 points, I feel like these two would switch places. But what I was not anticipating is Jaden Daniels by far playing his worst game of the season against the Eagles, because at least we remember when they played the Ravens, they lost that game, but Commanders were lock in step with them the entire game.
We had talked about it. You told us what the Eagles have done to good quarterbacks this year. So Jaden Daniels having his worst game against the Eagles does not shock me at all.
No, especially with the exciting whites on the field, especially with the exciting whites, which also we might change the name of this podcast to the exciting whites. But we've said enough about the Commanders. They're number 9 right now. Again, defense scares me. Jaden Daniels in big moments scares me. Other than that, I think this team is pretty legit. I also really like Brian Robinson. Second favorite person of mine to ever be shot. Number 1, obviously 50 Cent. Number 8, to be shot and live. To be shot.
I was going to say, come on, Tupac, bud.
Yeah. But next up, Casino. Number 8, the Baltimore Ravens. I think we have them in the same spot. Do we not?
Yeah, we do.
And again, it's just because I don't trust their defense. And when Lamar Jackson doesn't have a good game, Derrick Henry has to carry the workload. Well, we just saw what happened where the Lamar Jackson doesn't have a good game. Derrick Henry can't carry the workload. They get beat by a team that doesn't have to score a touchdown to beat them.
That's insane. Drink that tea, Bubba.
Uh,
Drink that tea. Whew. Whew.
I felt my voice going out, and it's still out. But next up, Casino, as I try not to die. Next up, my number.
Stop making me laugh.
Still getting over it.
Stop making me laugh.
After the Ravens, I believe our next three were the same because I also have the Los Angeles Chargers. Again, I said they would be a real threat to the Chiefs immediately because of how good Harbaugh is at just turning teams around, especially teams around in the same division or conferences as the Superman of college football. As we saw with when he went to Stanford and he was challenging USC, and then when he went to Michigan, he was challenging Ohio State. When he went to the 49ers and he was challenging the Super Bowl Legion of Boom Seahawks, and all of a sudden he's going to the Super Bowl. I really think Jim Harbaugh's special is.
Do you think so? With that, you start talking all this stuff about the Chiefs. Do you really or about the Chargers, and you saying that they could be a real threat to the Chiefs? Do you think the Chargers will go on that road and beat Kansas City in KC on December 8th?
I think I would pick that as the upset because again, I think we just saw.
You're just more feeding into what I'm talking about. The Bills, possibly. I know the Bills have a tough schedule. Don't get me wrong there. But I just think they are more poised right now than
especially
our
fans. They're now riding high on the confidence that they just beat the Chiefs. I ended their undefeated season, and especially did that. What is it in such? Again, you watch that game. The Bills basically dominated them the entire game.
I think if the Bills lose one more game, I mean, it could be against the Niners, the Rams, or the Lions. And then they'll be okay because I don't think the Patriots will beat them either time or the Jets once. So, I mean, the Bills, I think you have one game out of the next 6 that you can lose because I think the city will lose 2 of them. And you're talking about that there's a real good chance about your Chargers here beating them on the 8th.
Again, but if you look at who has the most well-built team to win the Super Bowl, I think honestly you could say Bills, Chiefs, Steelers, Eagles, Lions, and then I think the next team after that would probably be the Chargers.
I like it.
Yeah. I like the Chargers, how they're built, their coaching, their quarterback, their defense. I like all of that more than I like anything the Commanders have.
Yeah, well, I think I would. We'll talk about it once we get through the power rankings. I mean, big test this week. We got the Ravens Monday night.
Let's keep going through these power rankings. This is my number, 10, 9, 8, 7.
I'm killing the power rankings. We're talking too much.
Well, I just almost died. So, but I'm back from outer space. Next up, the team.
Oh no, we froze. Oh no.
Are we back?
Yeah, what happened?
I don't know. I lost it. But
it was a great still photo of you picking your nose. That was great.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, sorry. We got to pick this up. I apologize.
No, it's all my.
I think this has been good content, though.
It has been. All right. All right. Next up, Casino. My number 6 team is the Minnesota Vikings. As again, we have the same. I think we have Commanders, Ravens.
Oh no.
before we come on this podcast. I mean, you obviously share yours with me, but I make mine beforehand, so I'm not influenced by your terrible picks for my good ones.
I had Commanders 10.
Oh, you had Commanders 10, and then you had Cardinals, which are not
Yeah,
on my power
I
rankings.
know. And it was between the cards. Those cards, the Commanders, and the Broncos are really close for me.
Yeah.
I just
And again,
like the fight of the cards. That's all.
yeah. And again, we talked about it when we just talked about the Vikings. Then the rest of the season is really going to paint a picture for what the Vikings are. Are they what is it? A team that peaked too early? Are they overrated? Are they underrated? I mean, because again, most people don't even talk about them, but
Yeah.
they're an 8-2 team.
I just think they peaked too early. I think they're still a good team, but they hit their best early.
Yeah, I just think we need to really see, Sam Darnold get back to when everybody was like, could Sam Darnold be the MVP when he was throwing 4 touchdowns a game? But yeah, I just think we need to get back to that and to just see more of them the last month and a half of the season, which is also crazy that the season's almost over because, but next up, I have, you know what? I'm just realizing we could just race through this to save time because I have Steelers. I have
We almost have the same power rankings.
we do basically have the same power rankings because after Steelers,
It was
I put Chiefs.
it was 10-9. It was 10-9. That was different.
And again, I did not realize that till I just till we just started doing this. And we're trying to speed through these because I had the Eagles as my number 3.
Yeah, we've already kind of talked about it with mine. So
So let's go to the who we have number 2. Is it Lions or Bills? Number
my.
2 is the Bills.
That's so cute.
And I mean, he's dancing. We got a little dancing snowman for everybody.
That was us that was walking behind them, holding hands.
Yeah. And right now, Casino, why do you have the Bills ranked as the second best team in the league?
Well, obviously because there's a clear number 1, and outside of that, the Bills are doing everything they can. I love the Bills. I do. Josh Allen is playing like Superman, and it's not just him playing well. Like that whole team is playing really, really good football right now. Cook is surprising us all, honestly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I honestly did not expect. That just happened? I did not expect Cook to be as good as he was this year for the Bills. And he didn't. Okay, so I knew he didn't do anything last game. He only had 20 yards against the Chiefs, but again, good defense, right? And with I don't know, this team's just good, and it's all because of Josh Allen. Like, I mean, you have Shakir, you have Samuel, you have Cooper, you have Knox. You have some good players to throw to, but Josh Allen is just making things happen, man. And then this defense is really good too.
Yeah, their defense right now.
All good. Everything about them, they're playing as a complete unit, and I like that.
Yeah, and also I think Josh Allen might be one of the, if not the best quarterbacks in the league, where it's like we need 2 yards right here. So when we need 2 yards, I mean, you can put that spot. You can put Mahomes, you can put Lamar, you can put Jalen Hurts, but Josh Allen does really seem like he's now the front runner for MVP. I do think that Lamar Jackson will still probably win it because his numbers are so crazy and his team's good. But again, if the Bills finish as just a 2-loss team, and right now Josh Allen already has 8 touchdowns.
I see them losing against the Lions, man.
Yeah, I can't wait for Bills.
That's going to be the best game of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, especially because
this was the best game to the year of date. But I do think the Bills Lions is going to be the best game.
Well, especially because the winner of that one, that might be whoever gets the number 1 seed in their respective conferences. Yeah. So that might be the deciding factor of who basically plays home games for the rest of the playoffs until the Super Bowl. But yeah, Bills number 2. And again, 10th in total offense. They're 15th and 16th in pass and run defense. So right at the cusp of having a middle of the road defense that's still
you're 9-2 and you just beat the undefeated Chiefs. Like,
yeah,
it's that's what.
And you finally have a running game
Yeah.
And now you got Amari Cooper, who is, Stephon Diggs without the diva tendencies, which is an upgrade. And then of course our number one. So I don't know if you've seen the theme here, Casino. We were out in the winter. It was Aurora Borealis. It was snowing. We got a
Oh, I saw them all.
snowman. Yeah. So again, when you rise all above that, you're at the top of the mountain, which is where our number one team is, and that's the Lions. They're above all the snow, Casino. They're on top of the mountain.
Man, that's a
Obviously,
good
the
color on
Lions.
top of that mountain.
It does look good.
Yeah.
And again, everyone outside of the team you root for is a Lions fan. I feel like everyone wants to see them win. I would honestly die happy if they at least won one.
Oh,
Especially with
yeah.
this group, as long as it's not the expense of my Eagles, I would love to see them.
But it's going to be.
I don't know. The exciting whites, Casino. You keep doubting the whites. But the Lions right now, top 5 in total offense,
I
12th
mean,
in
it's pretty
total
clear who's
defense.
going to come out of the NFC. It's either going to be, well, not pretty clear, but I mean, close to it. It's going to be either the Lions or the Eagles.
Yeah, I couldn't really see any. Again, I could see some teams upsetting other teams, but if you look at the standings in the AFC and NFC, this is why we did the Super Bowl bubble. I really think there's only 5 teams legit built to win the Super Bowl this year, and none of them are built better than the Lions. The Lions are, in my eyes, and I know your eyes as well, the best roster in football, the best put together team in football, and right now I think inarguably the best team in football.
Yeah.
Because again, they'll lose games where their quarterback throws 5 interceptions, and then the next week they blow out another team by 45 points.
Yeah.
So they can win anyway. They have the best players. So yeah, again, one of the best defenses, one of the best offenses. They're everything every other NFL team wishes they were.